A group of guys from the same clan walk into what looks like a rundown martial arts school. Since they are running for cover from the rain, they think this building is the perfect spot to hide. As soon as they walk through the doors, they spotted a young man who looked like a warrior. The group's leader politely asks our MC if they're allowed to stay the night at the academy. He says they're dodging the rain. Our guy stayed quiet after hearing the question. He wonders who these guys are and why they're treating him so nicely even though he's just a kid. Our guy realizes the group thinks he's a young Taoist watching over the closed academy, but after taking a closer look, he decides they don't seem like bad folks. Nobody knows that our guy only moved into the academy a few years ago, so since he isn't the owner, he lets the guys pick wherever they want to stay. But he tells them the pavilion is off the table because he's using it, so they're free to enjoy the rest of the estate. The group's leader thanked our friend for their kindness, shared the news with everyone else, and warned them once more to stay away from the pavilion while letting them know they were welcome to find shelter elsewhere. The guys all show their respect to their leader by nodding and bowing together. Our MC glances at the badge on their clothes, spots the name Tang, and realizes they must belong to the same clan. But he still wonders who they really are. Without wasting a second, our hero steps inside. He walks into his private quarters and talks about it being time to feed the children. He bursts into the room with such excitement that it looks like he's rushing to save a whole bunch of lost children. In a shocking twist, the kids he was talking about are actually a bunch of animals he keeps in the room. He grabs a jar full of ants to feed his pets. He lifts the first box and sees a black earth tiger spider from China staring right at him, dead in his face. A giant black spider with bold stripes that look just like a tiger's can grow up to 20 centimeters long. Our MC grins widely as he drops an insect into the spider's cage, happily admitting that he would feel empty without these animal friends by his side. Our hero feels satisfied after watching the spider happily gulp down the ant. He is blown away by how fast the spider grew, having already shed its skin twice since it was once no bigger than a fingernail. After feeding the spider, he moves on to the next pet. He pulls open the closet door to find a bewangling cave gecko, a native visitor marked by bold stripes along its body and tail. Our MC says he struggled to catch the gecko because he had no money in his past life, hinting that he has lived before. He's thrilled that whenever he steps out now, he can easily find geckos everywhere, and he truly enjoys watching them grow. Right as he puts the bug in the gecko's mouth, the gecko snaps at him. The scream of his pain pulls him back to his past life. Before getting this new body, our MC was a famous streamer with 1 million fans who proudly claimed to be a pro-biologist named Spicy Fabre. Spicy was all about the dangerous insects and animals that could kill you. But then he bumped into a problem. He went live to celebrate hitting 1 million subscribers by showing off the world's 10 most deadly vipers. As his chat relentlessly demands, he show them the deadly black mamba, and even insults him for the trouble. He takes a break from the stream to hunt for the snake while promising his loyal viewers he'll be back. Spicy peers around the house hunting for the mamba, while his viewers guess he'll get beaten, and he keeps wondering where the snake is hiding. As he keeps looking for it, unaware that it's curled up on top of the fridge, he reaches up just as the snake instantly bites his hand. His chat hears his scream of pain and instantly realizes he was bitten. Because of the snake and its deadly poison, Spicy fell down and died. Just as he's in the middle of feeding the animals, he hears a knock on the door. Spicy walks to the door, where the group's leader waits for him. The man is grateful for Spicy for welcoming them, and then he asks if Spicy would join them for dinner. He shows them the deer they caught. When Spicy hears this, his face instantly brightens with excitement, reminding everyone he's been surviving on lizards and snakes since he got to the academy. He grabs the offer without hesitation, telling the man that they should share the deer meat and he'll be very grateful. The leader then guides Spicy over to the spot where the deer is being roasted. When Spicy sees the deer burning, her mouth waters with hunger. The leader notices how excited Spicy is and smiles. The leader tells Spicy the meat needs a little longer to cook, but before it's ready, he wants to ask him a few questions. The leader asks Spicy if he lives alone in the Hainan mountain range and how old he is, so Spicy, unsure of his exact age, says he's probably 14 or 15. The leader is shocked to find out that Spicy doesn't even know his own age. Spicy quickly lies that he accidentally hit his head when he was little, which is why he doesn't remember most things. Spicy agrees to let him leave alone, and he admits he has no real talent, so he just lives in the mountains catching snakes to sell their skins for a living. The leader can't believe Spicy is taking on such a deadly job like catching snakes. Spicy reassures the leader that he's no longer afraid, because he's gotten used to it. Soon, the group's oldest member hands a piece of cooked meat to Spicy. Just as we knew he would, his face lit up with pure happiness. The old man sees this and understands that Spicy must be starving. It's been ages since Spicy had meat, so he doesn't waste a second before taking a big bite from the chunk in his hand. With a mouth full of meat, Spicy feels like the luckiest guy alive. The two men were amazed to see how well Spicy was eating. The two of them then tell him they're hunting for something. They ask Spicy if he's spotted anything weird around here. Spicy is totally lost on the question, but the leader figures out a way to break it down. The elder convinces the leader to let Spicy know the truth, arguing that since Spicy is harmless, clueless, and lives alone, there's no risk he'll get in trouble or spread the news. Finally, the leader agrees to spill the secret they've been hiding from Spicy. They've come to this place looking for a centipede with a blue spot on its back. Spicy is shocked to learn they're hunting a centipede that's so huge he'd have spotted it right away if it were there. Spicy gets curious about the conversation and asks how big the centipede is, only for the leader to reveal that since it's an adult, it's large enough to swallow someone as small as Spicy. Spicy gets scared when he hears just how huge that bug is. It suddenly hits him that he might really be in another world, not just a few centuries back, and the leader sees Spicy's shock and apologizes for scaring him. The elder tells Spicy not to worry, promising that they are there exactly to catch the centipede. Spicy asks if they plan to catch a centipede and raise it, but that idea sounds ridiculous to the two of them. The two of them burst into laughter, imagining the wild possibilities that Spicy suggested. The elder then reveals they don't plan to raise the centipede, but are there only to catch it for medicine. Spicy hears this and instantly feels let down, realizing that these guys might be drug users instead of the traitors he feared. Spicy is then forced to ask them if a centipede can really be used as medicine. The elder explains that while the odds are slim, his granddaughter is bedridden with a serious illness and needs the centipede's inner core, a crystal of pure energy created by animals who have become spiritual beings, to survive. As soon as Spicy hears the elder's granddaughter is sick, he knows exactly what's going on. Since the elder is the leader's dad, that means the girl is the leader's daughter. Spicy figured the men were desperate to save the dying girl with whatever they could find, even doubting if centipedes were medicine, but knew that loving parents would try anything for their children. The centipede is in pain from the spice, yet since the men fed him well, he agrees to help them. The leader asks Spicy if he has spotted the centipede, but Spicy shakes his head and says no. The leader sighs with disappointment at the news, but Spicy quickly comes up with something to cheer him up. He tells the two that he hasn't seen the centipede, but he knows exactly where to look for it. Even with a poisonous snake killing him in his past life, Spicy still insists he's the only one who can do the job. It turns out that out of roughly 8.7 million creatures walking the earth, about 20,000 of them are dangerously poisonous. Spicy knows every single one of these creatures by heart, including the creepy centipedes. When it comes to poisonous animals, Spicy likes to think of himself as the final boss. Spicy then reaches into his encyclopedia of centipedes. He turns the pages of the book until, a moment later, he spots exactly what he needed. He stands before the two men and says he may have a clue about where the centipede is hiding. As soon as he starts speaking, the two of them lean in, fully hooked by whatever he has to say. They rush to ask him where they can find the centipede. Before answering their question, Spicy asks the two to tell him exactly where and when they search the set areas. They've only looked north and east, and only when the sun is up, mostly along the northern riverbank. Once Spicy heard that, the reason the centipede had been hiding from them finally made sense. He tells them they couldn't have found the centipede where they looked, shocking the two men, who then demand to know why he thinks they searched the wrong spots. Spicy is more than happy to share the story with them. He begins by showing that centipedes are arthropods in the class Colopida, which means they can be found all over the place. Plus, since they're cold-blooded, they need a safe place to keep their temperature and moisture just right. Another reason centipedes are so fascinating is that, unlike most insects with tough waterproof shells, they have weak protection and tiny pores in their outer skin. This is why centipedes hate standing in puddles, even though they need moisture to live and can't stand getting soaked. Putting all these facts together, Spicy says you're unlikely to find a centipede in the jungle or by the river. After listening to Spicy, the elder rests his hand on his head, realizing they've been looking in the wrong spots since centipedes love hidden cracks in rotting wood. Spicy admits he's not totally wrong because small ones can be found here, but since they're hunting for a big one, they can't hang out in the jungle or along the river because they won't be able to hide. After hearing all of Spicy's words, the men ask him where he can find a blue-spotted centipede. They told him that if he was right about where it was, they would give him a huge reward. Spicy grins at the news and then points his finger straight toward the west. He suggests heading west to check out the Rocky Mountains. It seems that centipedes like to hide under warm rocks when the sun is out and only start moving when it gets dark. Once they had packed everything they needed, the men left to hunt for the blue-spotted centipede while their leader, Aura, stood on a tall, pole-like rock to tend to his crops. 3 days have passed without a single success in their search. Now, the leader starts to think maybe Spicy was right after all. He shouts for his men to shoot the signal arrow and then get the search team ready. The men fire the signal, calling the elders' search team to the spot. The men are so tired from searching that some even doubt if Spicy really knows what he's doing. They can't find the centipede, but they trust that Spicy knows exactly what he's talking about. The leader's daughter, Huan, is seen as the greatest talent the Tang family has ever produced. The leader is so upset he can't find the centipede that he starts to wonder if the heavens have forgotten about his daughter. Not long after, the elder and his search team stumbled upon the camp, only to leave it with heavy hearts, having found nothing but empty air where the centipede used to be. With Hain possibly dying soon, the elder hopes they can find the centipede within 10 days. So the leader says, let's head south tomorrow. Since the search in those areas came up empty, he thinks we should head south. Just then, something struck the elder. He notices he overlooked a key clue while searching, but then reassures his son that they are exactly where they need to be. The leader turned to his dad and asked if he felt anything strange. But he shakes his head and insists he hasn't felt a single presence at all. The elder kept on saying he was sure the centipede was right there with them. He questions his son about what they've discovered in the last 3 days, and the boy shakes his head, saying there's nothing to show for it. Not even a tiny bit of animal droppings have been found in the area yet. This is when the leader finally realizes they haven't found any traces because the land is marked. The elder adds that it just doesn't make sense to find no single animal on such a massive mountain. The only reason for this is that a territorial animal is guarding its space in the area. Scared by the fierce blue-spotted centipede, all the other animals have either run away in terror or been eaten by it. The elder places a comforting hand on his son's shoulder to tell him that the centipede is nearby. The old man feels sure that they are finally ready to save Huan. Right then, a fierce wind swept through the land while a chilling presence loomed nearby. People panic and get confused as they try to figure out what's going on. Suddenly, a giant figure smashes the fireplace, leaving the boys trembling with even more fear. Suddenly, everything makes sense as the monster's feet come into view. When the boys finally catch a good look at the scene, they realize they are standing right in front of a blue-spotted centipede. Everyone present is frozen in terror as they realize the centipede is far more monstrous and scarier than they ever thought possible. Back at the academy, Spicy lies in bed puzzling over why the elder and his son are so afraid of the centipede. He hears screams around him, but thinks everyone is just panicking. Spicy thinks it sounds great and decides he really wants to see the centipede with his own eyes. After a tough fight that left them all hurt, the men finally beat the centipede and grab the glowing core they had come to steal. The old ones feel so happy they finally have what it takes to save Hyan, and their joy is so great that tears stream down their faces. The leader tells his father to take the uninjured warriors back to the Sichuan estate while he must first handle something important. He says that grudges are carved deep into the blood, while favors are only etched onto stone. Finally, the old man realizes they owe a huge favor to someone, feeling terrible for forgetting the people who helped them in his rush to save his granddaughter. The old man nods and says it would be a nice surprise to have Spicy as their guest. On the other hand, the leader has already sent the injured men back to the village to get treatment, and while they heal, he is going to visit Spicy. The following day, Spicy is spotted with 3 young, blue-spotted centipedes hanging all over him. Spicy is amazed that in just one night, he became the father to 3 blue-spotted centipedes. He recalls that the only thing he ever did was wipe down the eggs and set them on the nightstand. When he finally opened his eyes, the eggs had already turned into centipedes. Spicy is shocked and amazed that the eggs hatched so quickly, since he never expected them to hatch that fast. The hatchlings swarm Spicy everywhere, leaving him with no room to breathe. Spicy fears that the centipedes might grow too fond of him and start thinking he is their parent. It turns out Spicy had slipped away from the academy the night before, wandering off on his own just as the leader and his men were battling the blue-spotted centipede, driven by a curious urge to see the monster for himself. He finally tracked down the giant centipede's secret hiding place. Inside the hideout, he spotted 3 eggs waiting for him. After knocking out a strange cricket, Spicy makes his escape with the eggs safe. That was the moment he came back to the academy to sweep up the broken eggs. Spicy can't stop himself from sighing because he couldn't find the blue-spotted centipede, but he'll have to settle for the babies he did catch. And now little hatchlings are crawling all over him. Spicy can only watch helplessly, as the centipedes must molt twice before he can finally feed them. But he is really fed up because all those centipedes are stuck all over his body. He steps into the shower, hoping the water will wash the centipedes right off him. While he's taking a shower, the leader arrives at the academy with his right arm bandaged to show it's broken. He stepped into Spicy's room, but the young man was gone. He shouted out, yet there was no answer. As soon as he stepped into the inner room, he saw it was packed with herbs and jars. He thinks Spicy is a doctor, so he keeps herbs in the room to be ready. The man feels uneasy about stepping into Spicy's room without her saying yes first. Just as he's about to walk out, he hears a rustling sound coming from behind him. He decides to take a closer look, and when he opens a jar, he finds a spider, which shocks him, but he goes on to open another container anyway. He spots a gecko inside, but he doesn't stop there. He tears open more boxes and finds beetles, tiny eggs, and even some snakes. The man is shocked by what he sees and starts to wonder if Spicy is raising dangerous creatures and their young, which is truly amazing to him. The Tang family knows all about deadly creatures and poisons, but even they can only pull the poison out, not make it. Even though they know a lot, they still couldn't make more eggs like Spicy can. It's then that the man realizes Spicy might just be the greatest ally he's found on his quest to save his daughter. Just then, Spicy steps out of the shower and sees the man's broken arm, so he immediately asks how it happened. But the leader tells Spicy not to worry, assuring him he's okay before sharing something important he needs to tell him. Suddenly, the leader feels a strange presence nearby. Suddenly, a scary man with a dark aura pops up right in front of the academy. The red-haired man looked like a demon with a wicked grin. The leader sees the huge danger ahead and instantly tells Spicy to run. But the demon man is so quick that he gets to them before they can even blink. The leader can't win with his broken arm, so he's just busy blocking the demon man's strikes. Even though he stopped the attack, he still felt the hit. The demon then fires a blast of energy from his hand that wipes out part of the area. The leader lies wounded from the attacks, coughing up blood as he admits the demon is strong enough to stand beside his own father. He tries to warn Spicy one more time, but it's already too late. The demon snatches Spicy and squeezes his throat tight, making him feel like nothing more than a tiny bug. The demon man steps forward to say hello to the Tang clan, but he sighs in disappointment because their leader isn't at his best. The leader stares in shock at the demon man, who knows way too much about them, and in his confusion, he claims he has no idea who the demon is or why he's targeting both him and Spicy. The demon sighs in disappointment that the leader can't see him for who he really is, the blood Rashesa Tikinyang, who looks this way only because the elder forced him to become this way. The leader is stunned to learn Tikinyang is alive, especially since he was told the man had died after falling off a cliff from a poison blow. He begs the demon man to let Spicy go and even offers his own life, but the demon refuses, vowing to kill anyone who has ever approached the Tang clan. Then, he begins to choke Spicy so badly that Spicy has to beg for his life. Just then, the three young centipedes burst out of Spicy's body and attack the demon man, biting him with their tiny mouths. The demon man can't believe Spicy is using centipedes to fight him, so he reaches for the tiny bugs he thinks are harmless, only to have them dodge his grip and spray poison straight into his mouth. Suddenly, the liquid hits the demon man and knocks him off his feet. It doesn't take long before the liquid takes him down. Spicy is terrified and has to ask the leader if the demon is truly evil. Spicy has no idea that the leader is secretly worried about something else. What he just saw was so amazing that he knew Spicy couldn't just be a guest at the clan. The leader has decided, based on what he just witnessed, to make Spicy a member of the Tang clan. A few days after the demon man died, Spicy kept the clan leader from collapsing, for he had lost so much blood that he was completely drained. He thanks Spicy for his care, but the young man insists he must know where his friends are so he can make sure they're okay. Just then, Spicy realizes he can't leave the leader alone, and he can't call a doctor either, so when the leader notices Spicy looking worried, he calmly tells him not to be and promises he'll be fine after just a few days of rest. Spicy can't believe the leader is staying so calm despite losing so much blood and being in bad shape, but the man insists he is just fine. The leader tells his friends not to worry because he can handle anything with his martial arts skills. Spicy is stunned by what he just heard and rushes to ask the leader if those are really the folks who fly and shoot fireballs. The leader smiles and says, not everyone could do what Spicy does, but he was right about the description. So with that approval, Spicy knows he has truly traveled to a different world. So the leader tells Spicy he owes him his life after all the help he's given, and then it's time for the leader to finally introduce himself. He introduces himself as Tang Chaos, the son of the Sichuan Tang clan. In exchange, Spicy finally shares his real name, Wei Yong, though we'll stick with calling him Spicy, so we don't get mixed up. Chielson discovers Spicy's name and decides it's a great one. Kaioen says he has many questions for Spicy, who invites him to ask anything, But then Kyoan screams in alarm as he spots centipedes crawling all over Spicy's body. He nervously asks Spicy if the centipedes are poisonous, and when Spicy confirms they are, he reveals that they're actually just the baby blue-spotted centipedes. Qilin leaps out of bed in shock that Spicy could tame the young blue-spotted centipedes, and though Spicy tells him to lie down, Qilin can't stop asking how and where he found them. He also mentions seeing other dangerous creatures while waiting for Spicy to return, so when Chosen asks for the story, Spicy has no secrets and happily tells it all. He tells Chelson the tale is long, but the man has no problem with it. Spicy begins his tale by describing how he discovered and raised the eggs of the blue-spotted centipede, sharing the story with Chiel's son. Chiel's son couldn't believe that Spicy actually knew exactly when those eggs would hatch. To explain things better, Spicy heads over to his collection. He pulls out 2 lizards to show them as examples. He points to a spotted, striped lizard for Chaos, while the other one stays plain. Spicy tells Chaos he can breed animals to have exactly the features he wants. Cholon is blown away when he realizes Spicy has what it takes to create color and other cool features. Chiel's son then asks Spicy if he can mix the strongest poisons together to make something even deadlier. Spicy is terrified by the question, so he avoids giving a straight answer and tells Qilin that, in theory, it could happen. Spicy can't catch his breath as Kyoan explains the tricky business of mixing poisonous creatures, and though Spicy says it's possible, he admits it's a very hard task. Chiel's son didn't hesitate before asking Spicy to join his family. Spicy is stunned by the offer, but Kyoan's son convinces him to join the Tang clan by promising to teach him all their secrets and giving him unlimited access to any elixirs, herbs, or poisons he wants. Chalon goes on to say that Spicy has the skill to catch and train all 10 legendary poisonous beasts of the Central Plains. He then tries to sweeten the deal by offering to give Spicy his prized daughter, one of the legendary 3 flowers of the Central Plains. Suddenly Spicy yells at Chielson to stop, but Qilin thinks Spicy cares about the talk now that his daughter is involved, only to have Spicy cut him off before he could brag about her. Our main character is obsessed with the deadly monsters of the Central Plains and wonders if they are as amazing as the blue-spotted centipede. So Chielson confirms they are just as impressive. Actually, the centipede is seen as far less fearsome than the 10 great poisonous beasts of the Central Plains. As Spicy listens to tales of giant scorpions and a golden frog that glimmers like treasure, his mind instantly races with wild, exciting pictures. Qilin tells him that the creatures are far more amazing than anything he's ever imagined in his head. Qilin feels relieved that he was able to convince Spicy, at the very least. 2 days later, Spicy and Chielson sat with the rest of the clan inside the village. When they hear about the Demon Man's arrival, they are left speechless with shock. Qilin says T has been hiding away to sharpen his fighting skills, and Chielson adds that Tak was so powerful he was almost reaching the level of the elders. When the clan hears this, they are amazed and assume that since Chaos defeated T, he must have leveled up. They begin to congratulate him, but Chaos humbly admits he hasn't changed since they last met, before Chielson finally reveals the shocking truth behind it all. He claims that Spicy took down T, but everyone is shocked because they don't believe the young man is strong enough to face such a dangerous rival. So, all of them join together to thank Spicy for saving their leader. Just then, Qilin calls out to Spicy, telling him to show the boys the truth. Spicy nods in agreement and pulls back his cloth to show off the 3 tiny blue centipedes with spotted legs. The boys are shocked to realize that the tiny centipedes were the ones who killed Tak. They can't help but marvel at how talented Spicy must be to tame those deadly centipedes. Qilin tells the boys he sees Spicy's talent and wants him on their team, which makes the group jump for joy at the chance to welcome him home. Chielson tightens his fist, letting a blue glow spill out as he tells the group he's feeling much better now. Spicy spots something odd and asks Chielson if he's still hunting for what he lost. Chielson exposes Tak's dark secret. He trains in a terrible fighting style called the Bloodhand Poison Claw, a wicked art that demands human blood and bone marrow to master. Spicy's mouth drops open in horror as he wonders what insane martial art Chielson is talking about. Chielson warns that if Tak leaves behind any scrolls or disciples, things will get worse, so they must wipe out every last trace of this evil martial art to stop it from ever coming back. Besides that, Qilin asks them to help anyone who has been taken. He then asks Spicy if he'd like to help, knowing he knows the way around Hainan Island, and Spicy realizes that saying yes means he'll be tied to the clan forever. Spicy lets Chielson know he's ready to help, but only once Chielson heals up first. Xion is thrilled and can't wait to tell Spicy that he made the perfect choice. Spicy is always there to save lives whenever they're needed. In truth, Spicy uses this chance to learn more about the Tong clan and figure out exactly what he's walking into. But before he jumps in, He has to be sure the clan is worth his time. 3 days later, Kyoen was healed and ready. So the group set off for their first stop at a village near an old martial arts academy to hunt down the Bloodhand Tuck's base. The folks asked the village neighbors if anyone had ever gone missing around here. The village chief says that 1 or 2 people go missing in the jungle every year, but it's nothing too strange. Jil-sun thinks it over, but sees nothing suspicious, so he thanks the village chief, who is equally happy to help anyone from the famous Tang clan. With this, Chaos and the group pack up and head out of the village, leaving with no new clues. As the group keeps moving forward, they start looking for clues that might link T to the rest of them. Chaos was sure Tox was nearby because he found him so fast. Spicy finds the whole situation pretty odd since there's no sign of anything around. Spicy refuses to back down and dives deep into his fight with T. Suddenly, he spots a clue and quickly points it out to Chaos. He tells Xan that Tox mentioned hearing rumors about the Tang clan being nearby. Spicy figured that if T said he heard it, someone had to have told him. Spicy suggests checking every spot the clan stepped on during their journey to Hainan. He also wants them to sketch a picture of Tak and show it to people, asking if anyone has seen him. After Spicy shares all his thoughts, Chielson finally sees that the young man is truly amazing. Chaos realizes that Tak must have found out about them from someone. Now that Chelson feels things are finally getting easier, the group wastes no time and springs right into action. Not long after, the group finally reached a village. People say the village is caught in a strange sickness. Kyosen realizes that the village is where the HLY people live. Kyosen calmed his men by saying Spicy had promised that the HLY would not attack them, so there was nothing to fear. As they draw near the village, they notice the people inside look so weak and lifeless. The village is so dark that not a single ray of hope shines from it. As the group arrives, the village chief greets them, walking alongside 2 of his men and his granddaughter. Chilson bows respectfully to the old man, then explains why he has come to the village. As he talks with the village chief, Spicy glances around at the quiet, empty village. He notices that even the little kid sitting next to the village chief is weak. Spicy stares in shock at so many sick villagers and can't help but wonder what is going on. He guesses that the villagers must have taken some kind of medicine. After listening to Shurilan, the village chief tells him there is no missing person and nothing unusual going on in the village. The old man looked so serious that he stared right at the group and told them to go. The village chief insists there is nothing here to interest Chilin and his men, so he tells the group one last time to leave. Qilon stands frozen, stunned to see the old man reacting like that. He has to shout at Spicy because he promised the high people would be friendly, and even Spicy is shocked by this sudden change. In the blink of an eye, the chief's granddaughter Mijin falls to the ground. The chief sprints to grab his granddaughter, begging Mijin to stay alive because she is the only family he has left. Being kind, Shurilan tells the old man he knows the medical arts and can help his granddaughter, which makes the chief realize chaos means the healing traditions of the Central Plains and sparks his immediate interest. Chelson admits he's not a doctor, but he knows some medicine and asks to check on the unconscious girl. The old man couldn't bear to lose the only one left to him, so he agreed right away. The chief admits that a deadly sickness has been quietly killing children and hurting even the strong folks in the village for a long time. After hearing this, Qilon pats the chief on the shoulder and begs for a chance to check the girl, so the chief thanks him and orders that she be brought inside. He also tells his people to lead Chilson and his group to their destination. Without a moment to spare, everyone dives into action to get the girl inside. Spicy asks a clan member about Chilin, and when told that Chill's son is skilled in healing, Spicy learns exactly what he needed to know. Since the clan handles poisons, they clearly know medicine, and anyone learning martial arts must first understand their own body to pick up some medical skills along the way. Spicy was stunned to learn the truth, realizing the clan wasn't a nest of assassins after all, and he's already dreaming of joining them to study healing instead of those scary poison arts. Just then, a clan member explained that they trap wicked men and inject them with poison to watch how they react, and Spicy was horrified, realizing they were doing human experiments. He didn't waste a second doubting his first guess that the clan members were just a bunch of scary folks. Soon after, Chill's son managed to get the girl stable. He tells the chief that he has shared some of his energy with the girl to help her, and in thanks, the old man bows his head to Chill's son. He then pleads with Chill's son to make sure his granddaughter is saved. Chilson then notices that the girl's pulse feels wrong. He asks if she's had a weak heart since she was born. The village chief says that half a year has passed since the girl first fell ill, and soon others began to get sick too. So the villagers named it the mysterious disease, and to keep Sean and his men safe, he ordered them to leave right away. Spicy finally sees that the gruff old man was just trying to help. Chilson tells the old man he's bringing him special heart medicine and asks him to gather the villagers so they can share some of it too. The chief begins to cry while thanking Chaos for his help. Once the villagers are taken care of, one of Chaos's followers named Gupai steps up to ask what the sick folks are suffering from. Chosen shows that the signs can range from feeling very tired to having puffy eyes. On top of that fever and racing heartbeat, Shirilon points out that anyone feeling this sickly bad always had a troubled heart. Qilon asks about Spicy and learns that he's fallen asleep from working too hard. Chil-sun is amazed that Spicy can keep up with him, even though he knows no martial arts. Kaiasen then decides to head over to Spicy's room to check on him. Kaiawen enters Spicy's room and finds him fast asleep, just as Gupai predicted. Just then, Chilson walked over to Spicy and did something shocking. He gives Spicy a hard slap on the cheek to wake him up. Spicy leaps onto the wall to stare at Chilson, trying to guess what's wrong with him. Spicy screams at Chilson, yelling why he hit him and that it actually hurt. Chilson quickly said sorry, explaining to Spicy that he had only hit him because there was a bug on his face. Chilson tells us he came to check on Spicy, and that's when he spotted the bug resting on his cheek. With so many dangerous insects around, Chilson felt it was foolish to leave the bug there, so he says his hand moved up all by itself. Chilson then reveals the bug he's been talking about to Spicy. Spicy's face goes pale with shock the moment he spots the bug in Chilson's hand. Then, something strange happens to Spicy. He asks Chilson about the patient's symptoms and confirms that they all share the same heart rhythm problem. Just then, Spicy realizes that the tiny bug is the one spreading the sickness through the village. Qilon is stunned when Spicy tells her the bug is called the kissing bug. It's a member of the Reduviidae family, and it earned its name because it drinks blood right from around your eyes or lips. These bugs are so sneaky that they drink blood even more quietly than a mosquito, which is why some people call them vampire or assassin bugs. Spicy warns that while the bugs aren't poisonous themselves, their stomachs are packed with dangerous parasites that can infect you just from their waste if they bite you. Spicy then goes on to tell Chilson, Gupai, and the village chief that this bug carries a deadly sickness called Chagas disease, ranking it 7th on the list of the most dangerous animals that kill humans. Spicy asks the chief if the village dogs are acting sick too, and the chief confirms that they're showing the same scary symptoms as the humans. The chief asks if the bug is to blame, and Spicy confirms it. The old man grows curious and asks Spicy if he can save his granddaughter, and Spicy says they can if they find the right medicine. Just then, Spicy spots Qilon and Gupai talking in a strange way. Sitting there in a state of confusion, he overhears Chilin bragging about the Tang clan, which forces Spicy to ask what Chosan means, only for Chilin to repeat the same thing. Once Chosan finishes bragging about his family, he tells Spicy about the mysterious goo, which some fear are deadly parasites while others just call it witchcraft. But the truth is simple. Those goo bugs were raised by bad men in China. The villains feed bugs to people either to hurt them or control them, leaving Spicy shocked to learn about the mind control part. He says the goo is amazing, Chilin agrees, but he also warns Spicy that many martial artists have already died from it. For those who survived, the only choice was to kill their children, betray their families, or become slaves to the enemy, which is why many gave up on finding a cure for the goo. But the Tong family refused to give in and managed to find the antidote. They've made something that melts away the roundworm inside the body. Chosan figures the medicine will work because the bug that causes the disease is about the same size as the roundworm. The cursed melting orb is a medicine so powerful that even a tiny bit can work miracles. Spicy feels impressed and surprised when he sees the medicine, thinking its cool name is perfect for an anti-parasitic drug. Qilon reassures the village chief that he need not worry, for they now have the means to save his granddaughter. Without delay, the medicine was handed to the villagers, and soon they began to heal, starting with the chief's granddaughter, which made the old man hug her tightly while crying. After a long journey, the villagers finally welcomed the group with a grand feast, their bright smiles returning as Spicy cheered that their optimistic reputation was well-deserved. At the table, Chill's son still won't take credit for healing the villagers, insisting Spicy is the true hero since he found the cure's source. All eyes turn to Spicy as the grateful villagers cheer him as their hero. Spicy was amazed that Chelson wouldn't take credit for helping the villagers. He felt truly happy watching everyone thank and praise Spicy. Spicy confesses that despite it all, he's a little moved. As the villagers toss Spicy high into the air, he basks in the thrill of his heroic moment. Next, Spicy heads back to the table to dig in. This is the moment the chief tells Cheon that he has found a lead on what he mentioned earlier. Since Jil's son was hunting for the missing villagers, the chief decided to join the search. He opened his mouth to share a tale that sounded completely out of this world. The chief says that one of the women in our village often comes from a different place. Years ago, her village was hit by a mystery where people vanished, and that shadow instantly grabbed the Chaos Son's attention. He asks where the village is, and the old man points west and says it's just a small place there. Not long after, Chaos and his men set off for the village, arriving soon at what looked like an old ruin. The stench of dead bodies hangs heavy in the air, and once the group sees what's around them, horror washes over them. Gupai tries to hide the piles of dead bodies from Spicy, but Spicy just shouts that he can already see what's out there. All of a sudden, they see a strange bird gobbling up the bits of a snake. One of the party members can't hold back his anger, so he grabs a stone and hurls it at the bird, and even though Chelson tries to stop him, the bird is already hit. The stone strikes the bird, and suddenly, everything is different. Something dark begins to swirl around the bird, and a pale flame flickers near it. Chelson takes a close look at what's going on, and soon realizes something isn't right. Suddenly, the bird blows a fierce wind that causes all the bodies nearby to melt away. Chelson spots the danger instantly, snatches Spiky up, yells for everyone to run, and points out with a terrified face that the monster they're facing is a Jineo. In Chinese myths, this creature is called the Jianhua, which literally means poison featherbird. After barely escaping the deadly poison bird, the group finds safety where Chaos begins to tell them all about the creature that tried to kill them. He explains that the bird spans 5 feet across with a sharp bronze beak and purple feathers, and when it unleashes its fury to spread its wings, it turns everything black, deadly, and poisonous before Chelson continues his eulogy and description. There sits a golden crown on the bird's head showing its royal status, and that is why this special bird is called a Jin or a Yao. After hearing everything about the bird, Spicy realizes there is more to the story. He asks Chilsan if the bird is one of the 10 most deadly creatures, and Chilsan confirms it, adding that the bird lives at the very top of that deadly list and is even known as the King of Venom. Spicy gets a whole lot more excited when he finally realizes he just ran into the king of the 10 most deadly creatures. Qilon warns that the bird is so deadly that even Earth's most poisonous snakes and bugs look cute by comparison, while Spicy already imagines it dropping chemical bombs from the sky. Chelson says the Jinn came to the area to hunt venomous snakes, and since it only eats their heads, it kept doing that until someone threw a stone at it. Chelsea is then asked if the bird is common, but he says no, explaining that someone might live their whole life without ever seeing one, since the bird is so rare that only a few people get to catch a glimpse of it in 100 years. Spicy's head spins from all the info, and then Jelson asks why he's curious about the bird. Just as we feared, Spicy drops a wild idea, asking if they can catch the bird, and his whole party is left staring in shock. Chielson already knows Spicy wants to catch the bird, but Spicy then shows how scared he is of how dangerous it might be. Since Spicy wants to know about the 10 great creatures, Chielson tells him there is a way out, and Spicy's attention spikes when he learns it involves helping him. Chosen tells Spicy that if he can master the Tang clan's poison techniques, he will become immune to all poisons, including Jin's deadly venom, and reminds him that the Tang clan is his only hope. Chelson then takes his chance to blackmail Spicy, warning him he can't learn the technique until he joins the clan, even as Chaos insists he wants to help but can't break the rules because he leads the house. Spicy instantly asks Chaos if he can really learn the clan's special moves and survive the deadly venom of Jin if he joins them. Desperate to get Spicy on board, the leader quickly says yes, even though his watching teammates know he's just sweet-talking the boy to sign up. Chelson pushes Spicy to decide right away, so he can start teaching him. Spicy wants to hold back, but he can't turn down the chance to master the Tang clan's secret move. Spicy nods to join the clan, and the leader tells him right then that he's family now, forever. After that, the party keeps going with their search, and soon enough, they find the TAC base. While everything around was ruined, one of the men found a notebook inside the cave. The book holds all of TAC's knowledge, written in his own blood, so Qilon takes it away and orders his men to go home. Qilon steps forward and tells us they've already finished their goals, since they grabbed the blue-spotted centipede's heart and found the secret note TAC left behind. Since Spicy is walking them home, he asks to make a quick stop at the temple to let his animal friends go and pack his things. Right as they're about to slip out of the cave, Spicy spots something glinting in the distance. He points this out to the leader. They examine the gleaming purple feather that belongs to the Jinn, and Chelson picks it up. Since it's Spicy's very first day joining the clan, the leader treats him to a special celebration to welcome him home. Chelson tells Spicy that he's not happy with how Spicy speaks to him. Chelson vows to change everything, leaving Spicy shocked when his initiation turns out to be just the beginning of a long journey ahead. At that very moment, Chilsun's dad had just made it to the Tang clan. He is already worn out, but his heart still clings to Hyun as he desperately asks if the girl is still alive, and the others give him a hopeful nod. The old man doesn't waste a moment. He dashes straight to the room where the girl is being cared for. Hyun's mother gasps in shock at the sight of the man, but he quickly calms her down, promising that everything will be okay because he already has the medicine he needs to help. The old man opens the box and pulls out the blue-spotted centipede's heart. As the elder reaches out to grab the core, every single person in the room holds their breath, caught between hope and terror. He feels a huge rush of relief now that he made it back just in the nick of time. He then shoves the core deep into Hainan's mouth. In an instant, it shifts to match her body, wrapping her in a glowing blue light. While the medicine works its magic, the elder holds his granddaughter's hand and whispers an old ritual over it. The medicine keeps working, but the old man wishes it acted quicker so he could see his granddaughter again sooner. Back with Spicy and his clan, he rides along on one of their shoulders because he can't keep up with their speed, and while he always thought the Central Plains were huge, he never imagined they could be this big. After boarding a boat in Hainan, the group sailed to Hangzhou and then made their way through Nanjing. After more than 6 weeks of traveling, the group finally arrived in Sichuan, the home of the Tong clan. When Spicy reached the gate, he was amazed by just how huge and beautiful the place looked. Spicy learns that the whole mountain beneath their feet belongs to the Tong clan. Just then, clan members rush out to greet their leader, and Spicy gets scared he'll get run over since everyone is sprinting toward Cholon. Hyun runs alongside them, driven by her longing for her father. Her dad's face beams with happiness the moment he spots her approaching. He is so relieved the girl is alive that they hold each other in a tight, loving embrace. Spicy spots the girl and instantly knows she has the most stunning glow he has ever seen. And when it came to girls, Spicy once had a real fling with a famous star in his past life. Even the most famous person alive can't compare to Hain. Right then, Chaos's son steps in to show Spicy Hain. Spicy is so shocked he can't speak, staring with wide eyes just like an owl. Chaos then nudges him to admit that he cares more about the deadly creatures than Hyun does. In that split second, Spicy almost begged for a time machine to travel back and fix the terrible words he had just spoken. He stares at Hyun until sweat drips down his face, and since he first saw the girl, he hasn't been able to say a single word. Once upon a time, the stunning Hyun, Kyasin's only daughter, was known as the poisonous flower. Hain carried a heavy, secret heartache since childhood, bullied by clan leaders who targeted her simply because she was the only daughter. Some think Chaos needs a new wife who can give him a son. They only view Hainan as a perfect bride, never realizing she is a legendary clan leader or a true genius. To prove her elders wrong, Hain decided to train in martial arts, driven by a fierce determination to show that a lady like her could never be pushed aside. But Hyun pushed herself too hard trying to master martial arts, and her growing impatience invited a dark spirit to take over her heart. The demon drained her life force until she was left too weak to stand and forced to stay in bed. Thankfully, her grandfather showed up with the cure right at the perfect moment. As Hain opens her eyes, she watches tears roll down her face while she looks at her mother and grandfather, Myriad. She apologizes to them for the pain she caused, admitting she only wanted to be useful to her clan. But now everything has gone wrong, and she has lost all her inner energy. Her grandfather scolds her for trying to undo all her hard work, only to reveal that she has finally reached the 100th poison level she had been desperately hoping for. He reached out, telling her to wipe away her tears and try to cheer up. That's when Hain spots a glowing blue light pouring out of her. This shocks her, but before she can ask why, her grandfather explains how the young man saved her life. The elder explains that Spicy didn't just save her life, but gave her the inner power of 1,000 poisons, meaning Huin chased 100, but ended up mastering 1,000, all because of Spicy. Now back in the present, Hin has already received plenty from her grandfather before she ever met Spicy. Even as they stand together, Spicy struggles to wrap his mind around just how beautiful Hyan is. Finally, he opens his mouth to speak and politely greets the young miss, introducing himself to Hyun with all the manners of a proper gentleman. Spicy tells the girl that he's so happy to see Hyun healthy and okay. Hyun beams with a bright smile and tells Spicy that she is just as happy to see him. She acts like a proper lady by thanking Spicy for saving her life and promising she will never forget what he did. This makes Spicy's mood soar and his face light up with excitement, but he can't stop thinking about beauty. Just then, Spicy hears Chelson's voice inside his head asking how he feels about his daughter, and though he's shocked, he quickly realizes the man is using a special technique called sound transmission. Chaos-sun doesn't hold back when he asks Spicy if she finds Hyan pretty, even though she is still recovering from being thin. Unlike a typical dad, he even asks Spicy if she'd like to get to know Hyan better, leaving Spicy so stunned she can't speak a word while her face turns bright red with embarrassment. Later, Spicy is shown taking a cool shower to calm down. While Dad relaxes in his bubble bath, his clingy centipede babies huddle together inside their jar. Spicy is shocked that the centipedes are letting him take a break, since they never do that. Apparently, Spicy warned them the pool water was too hot, so the centipedes wisely stayed out, leaving Spicy with some quiet time all to himself. Now Spicy sees the centipedes as mysterious friends who can sense the chaos in his heart, knowing they react to the deadly anger inside him. Spicy sits in the pool, laughing and playing with the centipedes as if they're chatting right back at him. He giggles at the way the centipedes scuttle, proving he already feels like one of them. Then he remembers Gupai telling him that the centipedes were spiritual creatures, but since Spicy doesn't know what that means, he plans to ask Gu about it later. Just then, he remembered the awkward moment with Chill's son when he asked him how he felt about his daughter. Meanwhile, the Chaos son sits down to talk with his family. He explains his plan to let Spicy stay in one of the special rooms on the estate, the one in the East Wing. His dad is shocked that Kyoan calls Spicy so talented and asks if Qi really believes it. But Kaizen explains that while he thought he met Spicy by luck, the boy is truly a lucky find because not only does he know poisonous creatures, he even killed Takunyang and has faced legendary birds. Sean goes on to tell amazing stories about Spicy, claiming the young man even hatched blue-spotted eggs all by himself, which leaves Hain and her mother looking shocked. After hearing all, Chilson's dad finally agrees that his son has truly found the treasure. Chilson looks at his daughter and asks her to do something huge, take Spicy as his son-in-law. And after a moment of confusion, she finally realizes he wants her to marry him. Hin lost herself in deep thought, dreaming of how her new power over 1,000 poisons could finally bring her lifelong dream of saving the clan to reality. After thinking it over, Hin angrily stands up and tells her father that she is part of the clan too. She bangs her hand on the table, refusing to accept Spicy until her father proves he deserves her. Wayne steps out of the meeting, eager to find out what Spicy truly thinks of her. Jolin instantly worries about Spicy because even though Hain looks friendly, she is not someone to mess with. As Hain heads towards Spicy, she realizes the elders won't take her seriously unless she proves what she's mastered in the martial arts world. They want to figure out exactly who Spicy is, from his personality all the way to his skills. Just as Spicy finishes washing up and chatting with the centipedes, Hainin suddenly appears out of nowhere and startles him. Wayne tells Spicy she's in a rush and explains why she's there. She grabs Spicy's hand. Spicy, frozen in shock, says yes. Right as he reaches for Huan, a sudden thought stops him in his tracks and pulls his hand back. He thinks Hyen wants to marry him, so he asks Huan why she is rushing when they should spend more time getting to know each other first. Hyen can't make sense of Spicy's words until it hits her that Spicy has totally missed the point, and in an awkward moment, Hain shouts to correct her. Spicy keeps a funny face, convinced the girl is just being shy. Hin quickly explains she isn't up to anything strange. She just wanted to check Spicy's pulse. She knows Spicy must have misunderstood her sudden request, and he is shocked to finally realize the true meaning behind her words. Hint then apologizes for suddenly showing up and being rude. Huan didn't hesitate to tell Spicy that he was still young and didn't know everything yet. So, Hain is ready to lay everything out for him. Spicy stares in horror when he finally sees that Hain doesn't think much of him at all. Hint then explains to him that as the only direct descendant, she's constantly facing plots from the branch families, and even the elders are trying to find a capable son-in-law to keep the family line going. With all these troubles, Hainan asks Spicy to let her confirm something. Hin promises Spicy that she'll never treat him badly, even if their relationship ends, because he saved her life, and she considers him either a valued guest or a sworn brother. Spicy already gets what the girl wants, so he reaches out his hand to her and tells her to go ahead and tell him exactly what she needs. Hyen is shocked that Spicy agrees, but without hesitation, she jumps right into what she's been thinking about. Huan gently grabs Spicy's wrist and presses his finger against her skin to sense the powerful energy flowing through her. A soft blue light glows from her body as she performs the ritual, showing that only those who can safely take in poisons can master the Tang clan's martial art, which demands that she slowly build up her inner strength to adapt to the deadly toxins. To truly master the 5 stages of poison, from the first level up to the mighty 10,000, you must embrace every single step along the way. Once Hyen is sure Spicy is ready, she tells him he has what it takes to master the art of poison. But he can only master the first 10 poisons because Spicy's body is too weak to handle more. Huan admits that having a poison body is truly impressive, especially since Spicy wasn't even born into the Tang clan. Huan then tells Spicy that, based on his body level, He can only be rated as a first-level martial artist and nothing more. After sharing all that with Spicy, Hayne stands up and walks away. Once she's gone, Spicy is left staring at his own weak body, frustrated because he needs a stronger frame to catch the legendary bird he's so desperate to grab. Later, Hyen notices her body starts giving off a truly awful smell. It's been going on ever since she swallowed the heart of the blue-spotted centipede. Even though Hyen takes several baths a day, the smell never goes away. She thinks the smell is Spicy's way of punishing her for being rude after he saved her life. While Spicy is sleeping like a log, he drifts off into a wild and strange dream. Hyen suddenly appears before him, kneeling with tears in her eyes as she thanks Spicy for saving her. Spicy stands frozen, wide-eyed and confused, as he tries to make sense of the sudden surprise. Just then, the girl tells Spicy she only borrowed Hayne's face, and in a shocking twist, the one kneeling before him isn't him at all, but the late blue-spotted centipede. Spicy freezes in shock, too stunned to even make sense of what he's seeing and hearing. There are also 3 young girls hanging out with the centipede, showing that they are the 3 babies Spicy rescued. Spicy asks the centipede how it is that she can show up in his dreams. The centipede says she was killed so cruelly that her children lost their mother, and this deep anger drove her spirit to stay trapped inside the planet's very heart. Now that the centipede had eaten Hainan's core, she cursed him, finally finding a chance to settle her grudge against him and the ones who ended her life before appearing in Spicy's dream. All of this became possible because Spicy did the kind thing of saving the centipede babies, and that moment helped him finally realize what was really going on. Yet, he feels guilty because he accidentally told others where the blue-spotted centipede was hiding, and that mistake led to its death. Right then, the centipede asks Spicy to hear one last request before she goes on. Spicy nods to the centipede, promising to do whatever she asks. The centipede asks Spicy to look after her little ones until they are big enough to survive on their own. Spicy is stunned because he thought centipedes would be all grown up and independent after shedding their skin twice, not still needing their mom. The blue-spotted admits that while regular centipedes follow these rules, her and her young ones are different because their babies must shed their shells twice to stop drinking from their mother and start eating the true life force of other beings. Suddenly, Spicy realizes the big truth. Because Hin ate the centipede's heart, the tiny babies must stay right by her side now. The blue-spotted centipede agrees and reminds Spicy that her curse will make Hainan smell terrible because of her inner core. The blue-spotted centipede made sure no man would ever get near Huan, so she could never have children of her own. Spicy freezes in shock as the blue-spotted centipede drops a bombshell confession that leaves him stunned. However, the blue-spotted centipede offers a way to break the curse by asking that her children keep drawing power from her core, which now lives inside Huan, and she suggests Spicy can turn this into a chance to win Huan's heart. Hin pauses to think, then chuckles and admits something feels wrong to him, declaring he has no interest in taking advantage of Miss Huan's trouble. The blue-potted centipede is so impressed that she admits Spicy is truly honorable. However, she worries that Spicy might handle things poorly since Hyen clearly needs a powerful man. And even though the centipede wishes she could help, she's stuck because she can't find the inner core of the 10 great venomous creatures for Spicy. When they mention the 10 deadliest monsters, Spicy's eyes lit up with a sudden brilliant idea. He then tells the centipede that he has a proposition for her, but he needs her to trust him, and though the blue-spotted creature is curious about what Spicy means, he assures her not to worry because he plans to take care of everything and is confident it will all work out. The next day, Spicy meets with Hainan and spills every secret he knows. She is stunned to learn that the stench rising from her skin comes from the centipede's own heart. Spicy tells her that if she swaps out the centipedes every few days to soak up Qi, the bad smell will naturally disappear. Hin pauses to think, then asks Spicy if he's willing to do all this for her without expecting anything back. Huan knows Spicy could have easily asked for pay, but he hasn't made a single request yet. Spicy smiles and tells Huan he'd never be so shameless as to take advantage of a girl in trouble. Huan is stunned, leaving her unable to speak. After a long silence, Huan finally speaks to Spicy, making it clear that she won't accept his kindness unless she can give something back. Hayne finally accepts her father's words, understanding that there are treasures far greater than talent or martial skill. This is the moment Spicy finally opens up to Hyen about what's been on his mind. After learning that Hin's body can only handle 10 different poisons, Spicy immediately hatched a clever plan to take advantage of that limit. With a bright smile, he asks Huan to fill him with the deadly poisons of the 10 most dangerous beasts from the Central Plains. Hyen is so stunned by what she just heard that she has to double-check the words Spicy just spoke. That's the moment Hyun sees that Spicy is ready to become the mightiest under the heavens, all for his sake. Hyun's face turns bright red from blushing hard because a man has never confessed to her before. So Hin asks Spicy if he realized what he said, but Spicy just scratches his head and says he didn't. Hin tells him that the road ahead for Spicy will be brutally hard, maybe taking years or even a whole life to finish. And Spicy is shocked and starts wondering if it really does take that long. Hin still can't believe it all, so she just keeps blushing. Hin tells Spicy that since he is only 15, he will be ready for marriage in just 3 years. Hin promises that if Spicy can defeat even one of the 10 deadly monsters, she'll finally believe it. She says if Spicy can pull this off, she and her partner might even end up getting married. Hyun can't keep her feelings hidden anymore, so she stands up to walk away. Right when she's ready to bolt, Spicy shouts for her to stop. Hain's face turns red as he spins around to ask Spicy if there's anything else he needs to say. Spicy advises Hain to get treated before going, and Hyun, after freezing in shock, musters the courage to walk back to her spot. Spicy tells Hyun not to worry, because those creepy crawly centipedes won't give him a nasty bite. Spicy carefully nudges the tiny centipede babies away from their father and tells them to head straight for their mom. Spicy's use of the mom and dad example just made Hain even more excited. But Spicy tries to say he didn't mean it like Wayne did, since he was just talking about the tiny baby centipedes. Meanwhile, Chaos's son, his wife, and his grandfather meet to discuss Hyun and Spicy, and they are shocked to see that Hyun refuses to take on Spicy despite his amazing talent. But Chosen's father hopes they can move forward since he saw them together earlier, while Hyun's mother still remembers how Spicy was rejected. This worry hits the trio hard, and the old man admits the arranged marriage might not work. He thinks it's best to let the two of them grow closer on their own. Cheelin's wife suggests they let Hyun train Spicy, thinking they'll both grow stronger together, and Shurilan agrees that it's a great plan. The elder recommends they ask the wise healer sage to bless Spicy with a purifying potion, trusting that even though Spicy's talent is low right now, it can always be grown. Kaiasin tells his father that there's no way forward because it didn't work for the talented Hyun, so Spicy has no chance, and the old man agrees. Just then, Hyun reached the door. Chil-sun is stunned to see Huin, invites her inside, and she gasps when he reveals that his entire family is waiting for her. Since she is already there, she steps forward to tell the two that she has something important to say. With a burning red face, Hyun gathers the courage to finally tell her father that she is ready to do what he asked. Chil-sun is stunned by what he hears, so even though he understands exactly what Hyun means, he acts like he doesn't and asks his daughter to explain it more clearly. Hyun's mom jumps in and asks Hyun if she has finally started liking spicy food. Hyun struggles to speak, but her face tells the whole story. Everyone in the room can't stop cheering, while Chaos can't believe how Hyun ended up with Spicy after she said the kind of guy wasn't her style. Hyun finally explains why she decided to change her mind about Spicy. She tells them Spicy has promised to become the greatest in the world for her, and everyone's faces light up with excitement as they beg Hyun to share more. Hyun says that since Spicy's natural talent is only that of a basic poison body, he has promised to make up for it by defeating the 10 great venomous creatures. When the elder hears this, he laughs and says Spicy has real guts, making Hyun's mother so happy she tells her daughter she could never find a better match like Spicy anywhere else. Hyun then admits she loves Spicy, but she says she'll only say yes to the marriage if he catches one of the 10 deadly monsters before he turns 18. Chaos' son is stunned his daughter didn't ask for 3, while Hyun's mom sees her daughter is already set on Spicy, knowing men aren't that good at guessing what people really want. Then Hin asks her mom if she should go explain everything to Spicy, but her mom says no because Spicy doesn't know they already like him and will try way too hard to impress them. The elder tells Hyun to treat Spicy like a potential son-in-law without taking it too seriously, while the adults pretend they haven't made up their minds about him. Chil-sun is thrilled that Spicy's hard work will soon make him a true member of the family. Later that day, Spicy sits down for another meeting with the blue-spotted centipede. The centipede is amazed by what Spicy has done, so Spicy tells him he can do it because he has guts and never gives up. The blue-spotted centipede smiles at the news, warning Spicy that this day might be her last. Now that her anger is gone, her spirit is ready to leave her body and join the afterlife, and most of her inner energy has already faded away inside Hyun. Since it might be her final day, the blue-spotted centipede asks Spicy if there's anything she can do for him, and Spicy promises to do it as long as it's within her power. Spicy thinks hard about it before finally asking. Spicy asks the centipede to show him her body, and though she isn't thrilled, she doesn't mind since he's a man, but before she can start taking off her coverings, Spicy stops her. He asks her if she truly has to take off her clothes. Right now, the blue-spotted centipede is lost and confused until Spicy finally clears everything up. He shows he wants to see the real blue-spotted centipede, not her changed form as Huan. The blue-spotted centipede freezes in shock when it hears the news. She excitedly turns into a scary blue centipede. She wonders if what Spicy is seeing is enough for him, but he's already completely lost in the excitement. His face lights up like a baby spotting its mother for the first time, thrilled to see how amazing the blue-spotted centipede really is. He shouts in surprise at the centipede's massive size and begs to touch it. But before she can answer, Spicy is already touching her body and overwhelmed by its impressive build as he bombards her with endless questions. Even the terrifying centipede has softened into a cuddly one whenever Spicy is around, and she keeps asking curious questions about its venom, wanting to touch its dangerous fangs, just to see if she can use its eyes or feel them with her own. Since she promised to do whatever Spicy asks, she can't stop him from touching her fangs. Spicy blushes as he touches the centipede's fangs, and the blue-spotted centipede wonders if her babies will be okay, since Spicy's touch feels so amazing. Later, Chilsun pulls Spicy aside for a family meeting and tells him that his daughter has already let him in on all the secrets. Chill tells Spicy he's now officially his son-in-law, leaving Spicy stunned since he was hoping to wait 3 years. Chaos Sun confesses that the wedding will happen in 3 years, leaving Spicy completely shocked. Even Hain's mother and grandfather greet him with bright smiles, while the elder declares that Huan's match is set, promising the clan a future of great wealth. Spicy glances at Hainin and sees she isn't pushing back against her family's words, so he starts wondering if they've already decided to take him in without needing to talk more. So that he doesn't ruin the fun, Spicy agrees to the plan and tells the trio he's excited to follow their lead. Chilsun beams with joy at the news and insists they start right away, though Chilsun reminds him that Spicy must first see something before he can even begin learning the Tang clan's deadly poison arts. Spicy is instantly curious about what they're talking about and asks the trio what they mean. Kyosen points out they are in the Hall of 10,000 Poisons, and Chilsun promises Spicy that she will love it. Without wasting a second, the group springs up and heads straight for the hall. The elder tells Spicy that stepping into the Hall of 10,000 Poisons is a special tradition for new family members, and Spicy can't wait to see it. Spicy can't stop dreaming about how awesome the Hall of 10,000 Poisons will be, picturing it as a place filled with 1,000 different deadly poisons. Right then, Spicy glances over to catch a glimpse of Hain's stunning beauty. Watching her from the side, as the sun glows on her reveals just how beautiful she truly is. Spicy stares so hard at Huan that he misses his parents watching him, and freezes instantly when he spots the cot. Chilsun chuckles and jokes that Spicy will ruin Huan's beauty if he keeps staring at her like that, reminding him to stop because Huan is already his woman. Chill and his wife make fun of Spicy, warning him to watch where he walks instead of just staring at Huan. Soon enough, they reach the front door of the Hall of 10,000 Poisons. 3 grim and terrifying men stand guard at the door. As soon as they see the leader, they bow and welcome, greeting him to the hall. Chilsun orders the guards to open the gates so he can show his son-in-law the Hall of 10,000 Poisons, where the guards bow in respect, and Spicy notices how tightly guarded everything is. The guard captain yells at his men to swing the gates wide open. 2 huge men grab the gate and pulled it open with all their might. Even the guard leader is so impressed that he remarks the guards are opening the gates a little faster now. After the guards finally pry the gates open, the men are left completely drained. Spicy's mind is already racing through the hall, even though he hasn't left his spot outside yet. As they step into the hall, Chaos tells Spicy that the iron gate is made from Kunyu steel found in the southern wilds, and guarding it is such a huge honor that even the tired soldiers prove how special it is. As Chilsun steps into the grand hall, he whispers to Spicy that they've finally reached the poison vault where the Tanglon of Sichuan keeps all its deadly brews. They begin to lead Spicy around, showing him the different rooms hidden inside the hall. The Grand Patriarch warns Spicy to be careful and never touch anything without a second thought. Spicy points out that everything is kept in jars, and Chilsun adds that the poisons are neatly sorted by their effects, like those that cause paralysis or sleep. Chilsun steps back and tells Hyen to explain things to Spicy to make the moment more interesting. Hain, feeling thrilled, agrees to her father's request. Hin doesn't hesitate to drag Spicy away and show him the clan's most feared weapons, the deadly poisons that can instantly shut down a martial artist's inner energy. As Hin and Spicy walk through the hall while her guardians watch them from behind and chat about how cute they look, she takes him on a tour to see the deadly Al-Canal poison, the necroizing poison, the spirit-destroying poison, the bloody pole poison, and the 7-step soul-snatching poison. Hyen admits that while all those poisons are deadly, the clan's true secret is something else, So she hands Spicy a seed from a jar, and Spicy, thinking it's just a bean, takes a look. Hayne admits he doesn't understand, but she warns him that besides the venoms of the 10 great beasts, the seed in Spicy's hands is the most deadly poison of all. She also says this plant is a symbol for the Tang family and that its seeds grow from the castor plant. Spicy suddenly realizes he's clutching a ricin seed, a deadly poison so strong that just 2 milligrams can kill an adult, a substance infamous for ending a Bulgarian rebel in the Cold War, and 100,000 times more lethal than cyanide. Hyan then explains that the poison most closely matches the Tonglan's dream of being invisible, smellless, tasteless, and shapeless, which is why the clan calls it the rarest and most precious of all. They call it the golden poison, and when it ends a life, they call it the golden death. Hyan adds that the deadliest poison isn't the one that screams the loudest or leaves the worst wounds, but the one that slips away in the dark, ending everything before anyone even knows it happened. Once she finishes explaining, Spicy realizes the clan are just a bunch of assassins. Once he's seen the deadly poisons, his grandfather points him toward the dangerous beasts he's been waiting so long to meet. When Spicy hears the news, he gets so excited that the elder offers him a chance to lead the care of the venomous creatures, promising that the clan will back him up with everything he needs. Spicy feels a huge wave of joy knowing the clan is ready to back his hobby. Just as they were about to head for the venomous creatures, Gupai bursts into the hall and tells Chelsean they must rush back to the Black Tortoise Pavilion right away. Qilon is shocked to hear this and asks Gupai why he must go back, only for Gupai to reveal that the clan elders have gathered. Chaos's grandfather wonders why the elders have come again, but when Spicy hears them talk about the clan, he suddenly realizes they're the same branch family members Hyan once told him about. Gupai then steps up and points out that there are 2 problems to deal with. The clan's medicine failed to work for the Sichuan city lord, so he sent back a letter full of complaints. As for the other matter, the elders are grumbling about the Hall of 10,000 Poisons, which is said to be incredibly spicy. The Grand Patriarch is startled to find the rumors spreading so fast. To stop things from getting worse, the group has to turn around and head back to the pavilion. At the Black Tortoise Pavilion, the elders sit waiting for the Patriarch to come back. As soon as the elders came back, they didn't wait to let everyone know how unhappy they were. They questioned Kyozan for daring to make such a big decision alone, especially since he picked an orphan from nowhere to be paired with their beloved Hainin. Chosen hears this and gets so furious he could snap. He squeezed his fist in anger and told the elders they were insulting his son-in-law, and even Spicy was shocked to see how much the man really cared about him. With a faint green aura swirling around him from his anger, Chielson tells the elders that he made the decision and shouldn't worry about it, while the elders quickly turn to the Grand Patriarch, begging him to calm Chielson down. They're convinced that handing over the care of the Hall of 10,000 Poisons to an outsider with untested skills is completely wrong. As the argument rages on, Hyan sees Spicy turning uncomfortable and apologizes for the mess, but Spicy just waves it off with no hard feelings. He truly feels that he needs to apologize to the lady since he is the one who started the fight. Suddenly, Spicy grabs everyone's attention. He owns up to being the one who caused all the trouble because he just isn't up to the task. He asks the elders if they'll be happy to see him prove his skills, leaving them totally shocked by what Spicy just said. Spicy vows to take on the Sichuan city lord first before tackling anything else. Wayne and her mother stand frozen in shock, staring at Spicy with wide eyes as they try to guess what his next crazy move will be. Usually Spicy avoids trouble, but he won't let the elders ruin his quiet life as a pet owner, so he's determined to do whatever it takes to prove he's more than just a loser. The clan elders grew furious when they heard Spicy speak. They scream at him to shut up while the elders are speaking, tell him Spicy doesn't know what the city lord is going through, and even call out to Chosan to say Spicy is just a rude kid. Hin and her mother can't believe the clan elders are making a fool of themselves. Yet the elders insist they've always avoided such messes by picking leaders from the respected martial clan. While the elders keep talking, Spicy thinks to himself, comparing their words and actions to the hard times he once faced. As a streamer, Spicy was constantly flooded with comments during his live shows, where he gathered over 1 million subscribers and drew more than 3,000 viewers every time he went online. Spicy knows the elders see him only as a guest, not as son-in-law, which is a big change from his past life where he was loved by fans but constantly harassed by trolls who just want to cause trouble. Spicy stands tall before the elders, telling them that he rescued Huin, beat Ta, and saved Qilin's life. He then asks the elders if it's their custom to insult a guest right in their face, and since Spicy has faced much worse in his past life, he just thinks they're joking. After Spicy challenged them, the elders stepped back and admitted they had spoken too quickly out of fear. Spicy is thrilled to have them exactly where he wants, and even Grandfather is amazed by how Spicy managed the whole situation. The elders doubt T defeated Tak, so Chan steps up to show them the secret blood hand poison manual that proves Tak lost. When the elders opened the book and saw it was truly real, they were absolutely stunned. Chielson, feeling good about everything, asked Spicy to show the older people the centipedes. Spicy followed orders and showed off the yellow-spotted baby centipedes born to the blue-spotted parent. Chelson shares with the elders that Spicy is raising the centipedes, which recently took down to Kunyang. When the elders scream in terror at Spicy's blue-spotted centipede, the mood flips instantly as Spicy, Chilson, and Gupai laugh, while Spicy scares them further by warning that a bite will turn them into victims like Kunyang. The clan elders suddenly change their voices, insisting they never said they wouldn't accept Spicy. Grandfather suggests they set the son-in-law aside for now and asks the elders why they won't let Spicy into the Hall of 10,000 Poisons. The elders just say Spicy isn't family yet and is too young to handle the Hall of 10,000 Poisons. Grandfather sees they are right and chooses to fix the problem with a simple plan. He asks Spicy if he can show off his power, and Spicy says yes. Spicy tells the group he's ready to prove his worth to the clan and promises the elders he'll fix things their way, even if that path leads to poison. Fear seized the elders when they thought Spicy planned to poison the city lord, but Spicy argued the opposite, saying he actually wanted to send medicine and follow the clan's way of handling poisons. The next day, Grandfather takes Spicy under his wing to teach him the Tang clan's 5-venom returning technique. And after Spicy eagerly asks about physical training, Grandfather explains that his body will naturally adapt to the moves as he learns them. Because the clan values what works in real life, Spicy must learn skills he can actually use. Grandfather laid out a spread of hidden tricks like needles, coins, darts, powder, and throwing knives on the table and told Spicy they would begin with these. He notes that while there are many weird hidden weapons out there, they mostly fit into just 5 categories. Grandfather asks Spicy which weapon on the table is the easiest to use, and when Spicy points to the dagger or throwing knife, the old man nods and says he is right. When asked what's the toughest to manage, Spicy says the powder is hard to handle because you have to spread it just right. But Grandfather shakes his head and says the true hardest weapon is the needle, leaving Spicy shocked and wondering if its tiny, thin shape makes it so tough to throw. Even though there are other challenges, Grandfather insists that the needle is the hardest because you must remember exactly where you threw it. To avoid confusing the young man, the grandfather shows him how it's done by taking off the brush head. He then tosses it up into the air, sending pieces flying everywhere. The bristles drop down like rain, and the grandfather explains that they sink in like needles. Even as Spicy frantically dodges the attack, the grandfather reveals that the Tang clan holds a secret move known as the sky-obscuring flower rain. This is the clan's secret art where hundreds, even thousands of needles fall like a shower of flowers to cover the whole area. Spicy is shocked to realize he'll have to scatter deadly needles all over the place and fight right in the middle of them. So he tells the old man that the whole area will be full of sharp spikes with no room left to move. The grandfather nods and warns Spicy that he must memorize the needle spots to make sure he doesn't accidentally get hurt by his own power. Spicy asks if he needs to remember where the opponent's needles landed, and the old man nods his head in agreement. Grandfather tells them that starting with a 5-poison body means memorizing 100 positions, while by the time Hyen reaches 10 poisons, she can remember 1,000, leaving Spicy completely overwhelmed and too exhausted to stay up by day's end. Not long after, Hyen shows up in his room wearing a bee catcher's outfit, ready to join Spicy on his trip to catch a hornet. Spicy loves the outfit and jokes that it's so tight and covered they could catch a hornet all by themselves. Spicy slips into her outfit, and the 2 lovebirds get ready to go, with Spicy asking Hyen if she knows where the hornet's nest is, and Hyen confirming she found one nearby. Hyen then asks Spicy